He was totally irresponsible. I also hold every single one of the protesters out front of the clinic who hold those signs and say the things that they say. I hold every one of them responsible for the violence and for the violence that's continuing and for the murder of Dr. Tiller and for the doctors in the past. Because they are the ones that push the button of that one person who's crazy enough to actually pull the trigger. If there wasn't that kind of behavior and that kind of stuff on the television over and over and over again on something they call news, and if there wasn't the people out in front of the clinic supporting them and giving them places to live and feeding them information about the doctors' lives and where they go, there would not be this kind of violence directed towards the physicians. So for someone to be an anti-abortion activist all their life and to say the kinds of things that Bill O'Reilly has said over the years and then say, oh, we didn't really want someone to kill him, is just plain bullshit. Of course they wanted someone to kill him. Thank you.
I mean, O'Reilly, if people don't know, did go on over and over again on the news and say, yeah, Tiller, the baby killer. This is a man who, for $5,000, will help a woman murder her baby if she's depressed, blah, blah, blah. Just outright lies and all of this. But I also want to, one of the things, I think that this is where we get stuck a lot too, and this is part of why I'm a communist and a revolutionary, is that if you look at things, we're always hamstrung by things like the freedom of speech, the First Amendment rights. I believe that people should have the freedom to air their ideas, and there should actually be a lot of ferment and exchange, and when we have state power, we would foster that. But in this society, that freedom sits on top of and obscures deeper fundamental relations of oppression and exploitation. Because we live in a society that is patriarchal, where the laws and the structures do reinforce the family unit, where men hold the dominant position and women are fundamentally mothers before anything else. They reinforce a society where black people are oppressed and systematically imprisoned or gunned down by the police, and it's always justifiable, and it doesn't happen that way to white kids in the same numbers. I mean, we live in a society that sits on the top of the planet. We're an imperialist empire. And the freedom of speech that people have in this country, to the degree that they have it, and if you challenge the way things are, your freedom of speech is very often, the protesters against the war, rubber bullets. It's very often curtailed, but you're always told we have a democracy, we have these freedoms, and it obscures deeper, more fundamental things that until you get rid of those, it's going to continue. It limits our thinking even in what we're striving for. And it's not that, look, in a socialist society, we would have freedom of speech. We would have the right to dissent. We'd actually foster it in a real way because we'd be about uprooting these things. But I feel this is a deeper issue than freedom of speech. It's about the role of half of humanity. And there really is a fault line on that. About abortion, the murder of abortion doctors it was never about freedom of speech for O'Reilly, for Randall Terry, for any of those people. It was about hatred of women and taking away the rights of women to be fully human.